Welcome everybody to the Ball State Dynasty Rebuilding Challenge. Now, I looked through every single team in College Football 25, and Ball State, I think, might be the worst of them all, at least in terms of overall. Now, one thing I didn't realize is just how bad Ball State has been in the past. I'm clearly not up to date with my MAC lore, but yeah, Ball State's been pretty bad. They've had some good seasons, as you can see, but a lot of them have been pretty rough. So I'm here to sort of right the ship, fix it, and I can't stop until I get this team to a national championship. Now you'll see the interest level is not very high for the first recruits in this first season. So this is clearly going to be a project. It's going to be a challenge. You can't just get this done in like 1 or 2 years. Basically, nobody wants to go here. We have some 3-stars that have a little bit of interest, but we're going to have to fight with some big schools, and that's not very fun. I can't lie. It's going to be pretty difficult. So I had the help of the recruiter tree with me to hopefully sort of guide me through and help me with this whole thing. But I'm going to have to gain enough skill points to be able to sort of take advantage of this. So this first year especially looks pretty rough. But hopefully utilizing the recruiter tree is going to be helpful in the long run. One thing that does suck, both my coordinators are strategists. So it's going to help us in wins, and it won't help us in really the recruiting or the development or anything else other than that. So how about we just get started with our first season, get out of the way, and rip the Band-Aid off, as to say. And here we are with our first recruit of this Dynasty mode, Clyde England. He's a JUCO defensive tackle out of Indiana, fitting. Terrence Connors, remember that name, a 3-star freshman defensive tackle. And DJ Carr, another name to remember for the future. All 3 stars, really trying to recruit Indiana because it's the only gold pipeline that we have. We have silvers and bronzes in every other sort of bordering state. It's kind of really hard to compete with some of the other pipelines because you really need pipelines. But KJ Jefferson, the 2024 Heisman winner, and we wound up finishing this season 6-6, which leads us to a bowl game appearance. Replaying Ole Miss. Not a great draw for us, I cannot lie. But you know what? We take those bowl games when we can. Now, I actually fired both of my coordinators because they were both strategists. I need help with the recruiting cycle, so I'm going to look through and see if we can find somebody to help me with that. Now, here's sort of how our recruiting is looking. I've got this Channing Burr guy who's a really tall, really fast receiver that I really want. And sort of working my way through some of these guys, trying to see what I can and can't get. Looks like we might lose out on this 2-star, but overall, an okay recruiting class. Not a lot of recruits, but I think some pretty quality ones. And we have a 4-star tight end, which is kind of absurd. He's just kind of like left out there, no offers, no interest, no nothing. So I said, screw it, I'll go get him. Now, we're stuck here with the 88th class so far, but I have the off-season and the transfer portal to sort of fix that. As I say, I wound up getting and sending an offer to this guy, and I wound up getting him just straight up out of Minnesota. I just got their offensive coordinator. My defensive coordinator is a strategist, but he's much more balanced in recruiting, and that Fontenot guy is an excellent motivator, so he's going to help with sort of the progression of our team. Now we're going to go through sim this Arizona Bowl. And you can just tell by the only 109 XP. We wound up losing it. Kind of makes sense. First year, we're a MAC school. We're bound to lose against Ole Miss, even if we're playing mostly second stringers, like it would be in real life. You can see here, MAC Offensive Player of the Year with 3 yards of carry and a touchdown. Not really what you want to see, but I guess we'll take those awards and that XP whenever we can. We actually wound up having a pretty good recruiting class, all things considered. Again, we wound up getting that 2-star guard that we're kind of looking at. Overall, kind of the same class that we looked at before. Another year where we really had like nobody in the transfer portal that was even close to being interested in us. That's just going to sort of come with like the style of play that we have and the success that we have. Transfers seem to really prioritize prestige and playing style over everything else. You can see here we got 60 skill points over the off season, so that's going to give us a big boost. I was basically able to fill out the entire recruiting board, or the recruiter skill tree, I guess, in one off season. The only 2 things I left off were like kicker stuff, which kind of makes sense. And then I think I left off the last thing with quarterbacks, because right now our starting quarterback for this squad is doing pretty well. It's pretty successful. And I've got a developmental quarterback that I'm kind of working on. I'm hoping that maybe he can become something. So I figured that was probably the smartest way to go. Now, out of the recruits I got, this is the developmental guy, impact player, impact dev. We have some pretty good devs this time around. DJ Carr actually has dev. I clicked on him. It gave me the one for Iggy, but DJ Carr does have impact. Now, this is the one I'm really excited about. 99 speed, Channing Burr, 6'3", elite development. That means that even at 65 overall, he is super, super valuable for this team. You look at a guy like Benji Crummy, star dev, another one of these. He's got 83 speed, but that doesn't really stop him. Dominic Soto, a guy to kind of look at. He has star dev, I believe. Now, keep in mind this guy. I'm not going to try and pronounce that last name. First name Mo. He has normal dev. Keep that in mind later on in this dynasty, because I don't really understand how the devs work. And I still don't, even after doing this. I actually know less. I thought I knew it. I don't. Now here you can see me sort of go through, scout the players that are already interested in us. We had some pretty bad luck to start off with. It's really important to get guys who are interested really early on and try and isolate some key gems, and we did not really get many key gems to start off with. So I put a little bit more effort into this recruiting class than I have in the past to sort of get the style and the sort of caliber of player that I wanted. But all things considered, I think we did pretty well here. As we finished the season 8-4, not a lot of like notable stuff to go along with. I didn't really have any big commits, at least in the regular season. You can see here we had a really difficult schedule. We played Memphis, who was ranked. Purdue is ranked at one point, and we have this really brutal loss to Miami University, Miami, Ohio, because we were one game away from making the conference championship, which would have been really cool. But we had a really good season out of our quarterback. We brought our halfback back from the transfer portal, and he winds up at least doing well, like efficient. We just didn't get enough carries. Passing was not amazing, but it wasn't terrible either. And we actually landed some pretty good recruits. Now, I want to note this guy, just look at him right now. That bar for Michigan was done in 1 week. They did not even send him a visit during the offseason. He was a transfer. He was a 4-star transfer. He was like an 85 overall. Would have been huge for us to land him. But we wound up getting the 44th class. But I was really annoyed about the halfback, because you can just tell Michigan, like these schools with a lot of sort of resources, can just make a huge jump. Speaking of jumps, our wide receivers made a big jump. Channing Burr and Crummy are both in the around 80 overall range now, when they were like 63 overalls. The development in this game is interesting, because I do have a maxed out motivator coordinator, and I'm currently at this moment working on my motivator tree myself. So like, yeah, I'm getting a lot of XP, but it's like some players in this game just make the craziest jumps. As you can see, a little disappointed with how our halfbacks sort of progressed. They weren't progressing in the way that I wanted. I really want to fix this running back room, because last year we ran the ball efficiently, but we didn't get enough carries, we didn't have enough volume. I want to sort of get that volume up. And our quarterback, Nolan Hayes, did not progress necessarily the way I wanted, so I might have to start looking at quarterbacks as well. But Artez Davey, our star dev 4-star from earlier, is now an 82 overall, which is pretty big for us. And you can see him sort of going through. We have some 4-stars that are interested in us now. We landed some 4-stars before, but those weren't guys who were interested. We actually have 4-stars with some pretty big interest in us, first and second on their boards. We're moving up the prestige list. People are starting to take notice of our play style, of our coach prestige. Especially in Indiana and Illinois, we're really killing it right now, especially with these gem receivers. Now, we wound up going 5-7 this season, which is pretty disappointing for being an 84 overall. We started off, though, pretty bad. We won 5 of our last 6 games, but we lost the last game to Akron, and we were 1 point away from being Ohio State, which is a little frustrating. We could have that big upset. That would have been cool. Would have been definitely a cornerstone moment for this team. But we wound up having a pretty good class. We signed a lot of 3-stars. I'm sort of graduating from getting the 2-stars. But if we look at the top classes here, We're not going to beat Notre Dame. My goal is to sort of try and beat Purdue, and we do this year at the 34th class. So we wound up landing 2 transfer corners that were both 4 stars. Watch out, world. Ball State's coming, man. I'm making some pretty big moves here. And let's look at the training results here. This is huge. Artez Davey is a 95 overall. Our halfback, Claiborne, who actually moved from receiver, jumped up like 11 overall as well. Like, this is insane stuff here. 95 overall. Again, man, I was shocked when I saw that. Like that, the motivators in this game, I don't understand it. I don't know if this is intentional or intended, or if this is like I'm exploiting the system, having a master motivator. It feels like cheating though. Progression's crazy. As you can see here, I'm sort of trying to set up my board, identifying guys like this. That's like, I'm not going to get into a fight with a school, let alone a big school. My goal here with the sort of the way I recruit is I use a method that I developed called juggling, where I sort of am constantly rotating through recruits. So I put a lot into the recruits that I have, and if I have to get in any sort of battle, if somebody's gaining on me, so you'll see like the dim part of their bar, that's the progress they got last week. If they're gaining more than I am, I let them go. No matter what, I let them go. I'm not getting in fights. I'm not getting in battles. I can't afford it. So I'm constantly dropping recruits, and then I'm looking in the prospect list, and I sort by open, and I look at recruits that are not being offered and nobody's progressing on them, and I add them, and I just keep cycling through that over and over and over again. I probably cycle through about 50-ish recruits, 50, 60 recruits. I wound up signing like 24. Usually by the off season, I only have about like 12 signed, but I'll finish a lot of them up. Especially early on, it looks kind of bleak, but then I wound up clutching up in the end, because really this whole thing is just a resource management game, and I just want to maximize the amount of resources I can get, because getting in a battle with 1 3-star may cost me 2 3-stars later down the road, and I really just don't want to worry about that. So that's sort of how I've been able to sign these classes. As you can see here, speaking of the Neville, as we're sort of not at the end of the season just yet, or at the end of the recruiting cycle. I have the 60th class. I have like no recruits, but they're high level recruits, and we wound up finishing the season 6-6. A little disappointing for how good our team was, but we really struggled late, and that's because 1, we played Western Kentucky, which was unfortunate. 2, in the Akron game where we blew them out, our quarterback got hurt. So we actually lost the last 4 games of the season, which likely cost us a MAC championship, which is really brutal. But we won our bowl game against UTSA, and our quarterback, Nolan Hayes, you can see, the guy who was sort of our developmental guy, 5 touchdowns, super efficient day for him. And Artez Davey, despite the 6-6 season, gets a national second team placement. That is huge for us. That's our first national team sort of placement that we've had. And we are just all over the MAC boards. We should have been so much better than we were, and it's pretty frustrating. But as you can see, Artez, our first round pick, I just threw the persuasion. I knew he was going to take it, but our first round pick is huge. And speaking of huge, a 4-star halfback and a 4-star quarterback, 4 stars all across the board. Tisdale's a 3-star quarterback. He doesn't pan out like I thought he would. But we wound up just getting a really, really good class, especially for Ball State, all things considered. As you can see, this is where we got our transfers from, and we're a 2-star prestige now. We're sort of getting some of our stuff up. We're getting some prestige. We're getting some better sort of motivations, but we were a 2-star prestige. That is huge, because 1-stars have like no resources. Getting 2 stars mean we have a lot more hours to work with, and we have more persuasions to work with if our guys start to get towards that NFL level. Well, look here, man. We are a 37th overall class. That is not as good as last year, but still really good. Top 40. We just couldn't beat out Purdue, which does kind of annoy me. I always like beating out Purdue. I always like being second best. But look at this, man. An 87 overall team and a 95 overall linebacker, Trent Johnson. One of the guys we got. And I was shooting my shot with a couple 5-stars this year terms of setting up my board. But we have a lot of 4-stars, that are interested in us, a lot more than last year. So we're making moves, man. People are paying attention. They're like, hey, I want to hop on the Ball State train. And I had to jump into a game myself because we were kind of struggling this season. And our team is nuts, man. Our team is just insane. Nolan Haynes is a lot better this year. And like, I didn't play the second half. That's why I was only 58-28. It was, I believe it was 55-7 at half, or like something like that, or like not 55. It was like it was crazy. I don't remember the exact score. But it was stupid. Like, we were playing stupid. And speaking of stupid, we wound up winning the MAC out of this whole thing too. A 69-56 victory over Ohio. I did play this game. My defense a little rough, but we're getting better. Their quarterback was nuts. They have a really high overall quarterback, and he's like a mobile guy with a strong arm. I just couldn't compete, really. I can't compete. But we could compete on offense, man. We were high flying. Our team has so much speed. For a MAC school, we have so much speed, and I think that's really important for us because that makes us a contender not just on the MAC level, but on the national level too. And despite our slow start, we actually wound up finishing the season 9-4 or 9-3. We wound up winning our last 6 games in a row, 7 if you include this, and 8 if you include our bowl game. Unstoppable towards the end of the season. We had to figure some things out. We lost, I believe, 2 of our first 3 games. We lost some pretty bad opponents, but we wound up really turning it around, playing a hyper-efficient form of football, something you like to see. A little interesting for us. We were, we were a little inconsistent with our run game. But you can see here, man, Trent Johnson, first round pick. We have back-to-back years with first round picks. That's huge for Ball State because that also means that we get the talent builder coaching tree, which gives us a lot more XP, and it gives us a lot more interest in the transfer portal, which is huge if we want to win sort of a national championship. We need to get good transfers. We need to get guys who can play right now. And look at that, top 30 class. That's massive for us. And if you look here, D'Angelo Strickland is a 5-star, and we are first on his board, and he is a gem. That's crazy. That's crazy. We have a 5-star wide receiver that's interested in us. We're not that far into it, man, and we're already getting 5 stars. And look at that, man, 12-0. Technically, if you count last year, we are like 20-0. We're on a 20-game win streak, 90 overall team. Nobody has a shot against us. We kept it kind of close. We blew out Maryland, though. And then after the Toledo game, we were just untouchable. We were unstoppable for the last 5 games of the season. But we have Miami University, who we already beat 33-zip, going up in the MAC championship. Really proud of our guys. We finally are starting to play the way that we should be. In my opinion, the last few years, we really haven't. I switched the playbook to the Texas playbook, and I switched our defense to match our sort of personnel because for some reason, even though we had a 4-2-5 coordinator and my coach is a 4-2-5, we were running a 3-3-5 scheme, which I did not realize until just now, so that might have sort of affected things. I get kind of lost in the menu here. We had a couple players of the week, and you'll sort of kind of see them come up. We had like Terrence Connors. You remember how I told you to keep him in mind? 4 sacks in 1 week. That is absolutely absurd, unheard of for a defensive tackle, especially in like college. That's just, and at Ball State. Jarek Lester, our transfer quarterback, came in, balled out, took over for Haynes. A little disappointing to see our sort of like fan favorite guy not get the sort of love, but the other guy had better physical traits. Thaddeus Fung was a wide receiver. We transferred to halfback because he just couldn't fit the role. He jumped up 15 as a halfback, and he was unstoppable, just absurdly good. Had some sort of removing the ball around a little bit. Manuel Handy, who was our starting halfback last year. Channing Burr and Benji Crummy, again, 1-2 combination. So good on the outside for us for the last 3 years. They've been instrumental to sort of getting this team to where it is. And defensively, man, these stats are just crazy. Excuse me. We have 13 and 11 sacks, respectively, for Connors and Haywood. We also have Colin with 8.5 and Allison with 4.5. Our defense was getting pressure left and right. I believe we were up there. I don't know if we were first, but I know that we were up there in the top 5 for team sacks, which is a little crazy to think about for us, but we have a really good defensive line. We were getting a lot of a lot of interceptions as well. Maybe not from the people that I expected. We moved our, Cedric Brown. He was one of our first 4 stars to corner, where he finally progressed. I've started to realize that I think players have certain like true positions they belong in that might not be the position that you're necessarily recruiting them as, where if you put them in that position, they finally sort of bump up. Like we saw that with the 2-star Mo guy, who we moved him to center and he jumped up a ton. We see this with like our corner, didn't jump up for his first 3 years. When he was at safety, we moved him to corner, he jumps up 5. Our halfback was a wide receiver who never really jumped up. We moved him to halfback, he jumps up like 14. Our kicking, our special teams in general was really good. Our returning was not, but you know, that's okay. Who needs a good returnman anyways, right? But we've got Miami, Ohio, who we beat the brakes off before. They're not an amazing overall. We have 14 on them, and it really showed. It really showed. 62-3 outing here between us. Yeah, we were unstoppable. They averaged less than a yard per carry. What else do I gotta say? Jack Lester, fantastic day. Thaddeus Fung, unstoppable force on the ground. Receiving, again, our speed is just too much for them. Benji Crummy on the outside. We got Berg sort of as like a slot, like a tall slot for us. And yeah, 4 sacks, 4 picks. Got some sort of highlights from the game here. Just kind of want to show off that, like, just how fast we are compared to them with just this one play of, like, man, they cannot even touch Thaddeus. This was the first, like, offensive play we had of the game, too. So if that doesn't show you what the writing on the wall is for the MAC, I don't know what to tell you. But, well, we are the coach of the year. We do not win the Heisman. Cesar Portillo wins the Heisman for Texas as the wide receiver. But we are the best running back in the nation. 1,100 yards, 17 touchdowns, wins you best running back in this game because rushing stats are bugged. But what is not bugged is us getting in the college football playoff picture. We play Ohio State first and foremost in the Fiesta Bowl. So let's get into it.
Welcome, folks, to downtown Atlanta and Mercedes-Benz Stadium, site of this year's Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and, of course, part of the college football playoff. We are through the opening round of this year's playoff, and now the pressure is mounting in the quarterfinals. A matchup between one side that's had time to rest and recover, and another team that's battle-tested, already off one playoff victory. As we'll see the number 5 seed in this playoff, the Ohio State Buckeyes, taking on the number 4 seed in the playoff, the Ball State Cardinals. Green Day Sports College Football, I'm Chris Fowler, here in the booth with Kirk Herbstreit. And here we go, a college football playoff quarterfinal game. Only one team here can keep their championship dreams alive.
And here we are, first drive of the game. Gonna do a little jet sweep pass here. We're 1st and 10 driving on the 16-yard line, and Channing Burr, he's got speed and he's got elusiveness, man. Getting juked out by a 6'3" guy like that is crazy. That's a touchdown for Ball State on their first drive of the game. We've got speed to compete with this Big Ten team. Defensively, 3rd and 11, a chance to stop them, get the ball back, but we have speed on offense. We do not have speed on defense. This wide receiver right here gave me nightmares in this game. Touchdown, huge play for them. Now, 2nd and 13. Tie game. Are they going to get it right back to him? I've got 3 guys over there, and he's getting lost. We don't get the fumble recovery, but we get a big sack there. Now Channing Burr, we get the ball back, and we've put it on the turf. Get it right back to them. I suck at tackling with linemen, and they walk into the end zone for an easy score. It's 14-7. We've got to come back, make a big play here. We've got our big running back out of Ole Miss, a transfer, get a 4th and 1, because I did not come here to kick field goals or punt the ball. I came here to win football games. We got a nice little play here to our slow-ass tight end for a 4th and 1. Again, we already went for it one time. I'm not kicking a field goal, all right? Might as well let the kicker at home. I didn't come here to play special teams, okay? I came here to score touchdowns, and we've got our big running back again. Guy to Ole Miss, thought he might start this year, did not, doesn't matter. When we need him the most, he comes in. Next play, guess who we're going? Our best player right here. Too fast, too easy. Touchdown. I'm telling you, man, the speed on this team is no joke. You might have thought we were the Louisville Cardinals with the way that we're playing. Do a little RPO action here, and that is a walk-in. Not even walk-in. A wide open touchdown. Nothing but green grass around him. It's like throwing on air. Like I'm running routes on air right there. But right here, man, 0 again, man, giving me nightmares. I'm even usering on him. I just can't contain him. I can't compete with him. But we've got Handy right here. A juke move. Whoop. Get out of my way. First down. Huge gain for us. It's, again, fourth quarter right now. 21-21. We're going to hand it off to Fung. Can you get us a couple yards? Oh, you can do more than that. Braxton Miller, are you back? Like, you didn't tell me? What is that? Touchdown. Gritty on him. And we have a chance here to walk out with a surprise win. We'll check down here. They're going to get down to a 2nd and 2. We've got a chance here. 55 seconds. They're burning their timeouts. We got to make a big stop here. But again, man, this team that we're playing against, very fast. Make anything happen in a second. I'm all over that receiver, though, and he gets sacked. 3rd and 15. This quarterback is rattled. He is a one-read machine. If that guy is not open, he's not throwing the ball to anybody else. He's not getting any efficient yards. I'm telling my defense, it's pass, it's pass, it's pass. And they know. Terrence Connors chases this man down. What is that? Well, how do you stop that, man? Terrence Connors out here looking like Chris Jones, looking like Week 1 Chandler Jones, looking like Aaron Donald even. The 4th and 19. Peach Bowl on the line. And they're going to check it down. What is that? What is that? A check down to lose the game? That's how you lose? And that is how they lose. We win the Peach Bowl. We upset Ohio State. We are clearly the big team from up north who wears bread. Look at us, man. Big Ten who? Big Ten who? How about the MAC and some MACtion here in the Peach Bowl? Massive victory for us. A dynasty-changing and a program-changing victory at that. And that leads us to Pasadena, where we are going to take on the Auburn Tigers. Now, at one point, Auburn was the #1 team in the country. They were actually 10-0. They have dropped 3 of their last 4, and we're here to try and make it 4 of their last 5. But they did just beat Wisconsin, who's the #1 team in the nation, 12-1, Big Ten winner. So clearly they're coming in hot, they're coming in scary, and they're coming in talented. So we've got to put our best game forward here if we want to get a win in Pasadena.
Welcome everybody to Pasadena and the majestic Rose Bowl, one of the unique settings in all of sport. This year's Rose Bowl, presented by Prudential, is a crucial part of the college football playoff. We've reached the semifinal stage, one last hurdle to clear before that national championship game. And today we're going to find out who's got the toughness and the depth to continue their drive and keep championship dreams alive. We'll see the #4 seed in this playoff, the Ball State Cardinals, taking on the #9 seed in the playoff, the Auburn Tigers. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Chris Fowler, joined by Kirk Herbstreit. It's been a tremendous college football playoff so far, and it's down to this, the semifinals. Which team will head on to the national championship game?
Now here we are, first drive of the game. We are driving. We're on the opposing 16-yard line here. I've got a dig to Burr, and that's a touchdown. That is back-to-back games in this college football playoff where we score on the first drive, but Auburn, they're driving too. They get a little screen pass out here. He's breaking it. First down, but he fumbles the ball. A user strip, and it's Ball State ball. We have a chance to go up big here, take an early 2-possession lead, and that's what we do with this field goal right here. It's up, and it is through. Field goal kicking in this game is not easy, but we get that one now here in the second quarter. Auburn, no points, make that 6 touchdown right there. They're really abusing our linebackers over the middle of the field, especially on that drive. Now here, midway through the second, we had trouble moving the ball, but they get a roughing the punter penalty on 4th and 7. Massive for them, just a terrible mistake to make, especially in a game with these stakes this high. You just cannot make that mistake if you're Auburn. They give us a second chance. And let me tell you, you cannot give us too many chances because we make them pay immediately on the same drive. Touchdown. 17-7 Ball State halfway through the second quarter. A little bit more than halfway through the second quarter. But they're going to respond right here. First and goal, touchdown. As time winds down in this second quarter. Now going into half, 17-7, we meet us halfway through the third right here. Got a man coming in motion, and I've got this wheel route coming out of the backfield, and it is wide open. There's no safety help. They were so starstruck by the outside fade on the other side of the ball, and they just did not cover anything. That's a huge touchdown right there. The speed of Emmanuel Handy really coming in handy for us right there. 24-14 here, and we just have no safety coverage on that corner. It's 24-21. Auburn responds almost immediately. But we are right back here, third and goal, with a big power back out of Ole Miss. Marquez Galloway. Touchdown. Huge for us. Galladay, I'm so sorry. 31-21 now here on the RPO, and they hit us over the middle. Touchdown. That's halfway through the fourth quarter. It is 31-28. Now we have a chance. Burn down some clock. We're going to hand it to our best player, Thad Fung, and he says, I'm not burning any clock, coach. I'm juking them, spinning them, breaking tackles. 30, 20, 10, goal line, touchdown. And we are back up by 10. Thaddeus Fung has been so big for us, the national best running back in college football this last season. And look at that, you can see by the wear and tear, man. We have been really relying on him. He is banged up and bruised, but it does not matter. Now, one thing we cannot do is let up a big touchdown. And what do? We let up a big touchdown. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. So they're able to bring it within 3. We can't do anything on offense, but they have a 4th and 7 here on the 42, and they test our white cornerback, and he says, no, I've had enough. That is the ball game. 38-35, the final here in Pasadena, the Ball State Cardinals. They did the impossible once, and they do the impossible again. A small team from the MAC taking out 2 legendary football programs right here in one of the most legendary bowl games ever. And we have LSU, another SEC Tiger team, to face in this national championship.
Welcome everyone to a piece of college football history as we crown this season's national champion. There's been so much that's gone into getting here, twists and turns, and now it builds to this, the battle for supremacy. And what a matchup this is. 2 survivors of the expanded college football playoff grind, 2 of the top 4 seeds when it all began. Both sides have been challenged and pushed all year and through the playoff. Now it's time to find out who can take that final step, as we'll see the number 2 seed in this playoff, the LSU Tigers, taking on a team from the MAC, the Ball State Cardinals. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Chris Fowler, joined here as always by Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk, everything has been building to this. It's time for the national championship. Let's crown a champion.
Here in Glendale, home of the Arizona Cardinals, and it makes sense for us, man. Cardinal on Cardinal action for us. We're basically at home, and we're going to hand it off here, 2nd and 5. And look at that, man. 30, 20, 10, can't get all the way. Emmanuel Handy, though, gets a nice big run to start off the game. 3rd and 7. We're going to check it down to our tight end right there. It's a 4th and 2, and I did not come to the national championship with Ball State of all teams to kick a field goal right here. It's 4th and 2 on the 2. I trust our guys. I trust our line, and I especially trust our receivers here. So we're going to sort of flip through some plays. The box is a little too full for me, though, to sort of run it here. I'm going to go with the pass. Got the stick formation. Nobody's open. But you know what is open? Green grass. Jarek Lester, touchdown. Ball State. And it's time. It's time that people started watching us. Now, 3rd and 11 here for LSU. They got a big play coming up here. They got to make something work, and they don't. Give me that. All over it. QB's testing me, and man, I got all the answers. That is Ball State ball, but we can't really do anything with it. 3rd and 13, right back where they were. Start of the second quarter, though. 7-0. Nobody's open. I'm all over his first read, and he fumbles the ball. What a disaster for LSU. It's 4th and 37, and they're going to get the ball right back to us. Now 3 minutes left in the second quarter. I got nothing really working on this 3rd down, and I'm going to fumble the ball in the pocket. Jarek Lester cannot make anything work, and he gives it right back to him. And LSU, man, they're talented. They're the number 2 team in the country for a reason. They make us pay immediately. Now 1st and goal on the 1. We're going to answer right back with 8 seconds left in the second quarter. 14-7 going to half. LSU eventually would get their way down the field on their first drive of the second half and kick a field goal, 14-10, but we're going to answer right back at the start of the fourth quarter. Been a defensive game so far in the second half, really in the entire game compared to the other two. 17-10. We have a 7-point lead on LSU. They're driving. 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and they're going to hand it off to the right, and my guy completely just eats turf. Touchdown, LSU. Embarrassing stuff for us. We have a 17-17 game, 2 minutes left. I'm going to throw it right here to the right on towards the hashes. It's 4th and 3 for us. We are inside LSU territory, deep, almost in the red zone. And I'm just saying, man, like I said, I did not come all the way here to kick a damn field goal, okay? We're going for this. I'm putting the ball in the guys that I trust the most in our offense's hands. We've had one of the best offenses in the entire country. We've got talent across the board, guys I developed and I recruited, and I want to make the plays with them. Throw in here. Got him. Benji Crummy. Who else, man? Who else? Our scrappy route runner. We're going to hand it off here on a counter. Now, I've got an easy walk-in touchdown, but I don't want that, man. I want to burn as much clock as I humanly possibly can. Now look at this, 4th and 1, time's ticking down, but I've got to make a decision here. If I kick a field goal, we give them about 35, 40 seconds. They can move the ball in that time, and I don't want to risk that. I don't want to lose a heartbreaking national championship loss. So I say, you know what, man, I've developed this offensive line so well. It's probably the best unit on our entire team, and I really want to abuse that here. We've got the might to go head-to-head with all of these SEC teams, pound for pound, and we are going to do it right here. 4th and 1, game on the line, national championship on the line. Marquez Galladay, former Ole Miss Rebel, touchdown. 4th and 2 here for LSU, and they're going to convert, though. We're 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter. On our own 17-yard line, LSU's driving. They're making a miracle play. All they've got to do is get in the end zone on one of these plays. They're going to spike it. They've got 2 shots for a touchdown. Our whole season, everything we worked for in this entire rebuild is resting on the shoulders of these 2 plays. This is critical for us to get this. I'm telling the defense, we're pass commit. He's going to throw it away. 5 seconds left. 1 play. 7-point game, 24-17 in Glendale. A miracle on the ropes right here. Ball State could do the impossible. They could win it all. They could shock the LSU Tigers in Glendale. Man comes in motion. He's got a man over the middle, and he takes it, but he is stopped short. 3 yards short, and Ball State, we did it. The absolute impossible. National champion out of Muncie, Indiana. They didn't expect it. Nobody expected us, man. We struggled for years and years. We had disappointing year after disappointing year after disappointing year. And that means 24 straight games in a row that we have won, including our 8 games in a row last year. Ever since we had that one bad loss against, I believe, Eastern Michigan, we have turned it up a notch. Our fans, they're really struggling in the face, but they're excited for it. And Jarek Lester has been massive for us. We finally got some good, consistent quarterback play that doesn't get hurt when they're at the peak. It's crazy game, crazy storylines. I can't believe I was able to get this far this quickly with Ball State, man. It was a journey. It was difficult. The recruiting was timely. Spent hours and hours and hours trying to finally tune my recruiting classes to fit what the team needed and what we needed to really compete. And I'm glad to see it sort of fully, work out in the end. And look at that, man, 16-0, number 1 team in the nation. Who's stopping us? Nobody. Nobody's stopping Muncie. And look at that, man. You say we're not talented. We are the Georgia of the North. Michigan, Ohio State move over. We have 5 first-round picks on this team. Muncie is a football workhorse warehouse. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode, or this sort of start of my Dynasty series, as I'm going to go through and try and rebuild some of these teams. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe, and continue looking out for more videos like this. Thank you, and have a great day.